Hey, Mike Collins here, Waverly High School class of 1991. Definitely sorry to hear about the passing of Coach McCloe. What an amazing man. I know that he had such a huge impact on my life as I was going through high school and shortly after high school. But I really think that first I should say thanks to Cindy and thanks to Coach's daughters. That thank you for sharing your dad and your husband with us. I had the opportunity to be a high school football coach for the past 10 years. It's definitely a time commitment and a sacrifice for the family. And as kids, when we were wrestling, I don't think we ever really thought how much Coach was missing out on to be with us and to help mold us and to help shape us into young men. And the weekend tournaments, the camps during the summer, like Coach was always there. And one of the big thoughts that I've had over the past week is just like, when did Coach get to know us? Like, when did Coach meet us? Man, I remember like being a kid and going to Camp Olympia and rolling around on the mats and just, I think Coach knew each and every one of us like when we were little. Like, I knew that he was building a team and building the dynasty of Waverly Wrestling started at a young age with the feeder programs, with the Waverly Rec programs, or some guys came over from Sarah Grapplers and stuff like that. But man, I just think Coach knew me as a kid, and every time I was in the wrestling room, or every time I was before I even got into high school, like I knew who Coach was, and he'd always say, "Hi, Mike," and how are things going? And I think that was the best part about Coach, is like talking to him outside of the wrestling room. He was definitely a different man once the wrestling practice started. But we talked about his giggle. He had a giggle. He loved to laugh at his own jokes. The rest of the locker room was always fun. The bus rides, always a great time with Coach. The practices were tough, super tough, and I think that Coach pushed us harder in practice because he knew that we could do a lot more than our minds would ever allow us to. And if we could do it in the wrestling room, then we could easily do it in a 6-minute match. And, a lot of times as a kid, you don't realize what lesson he was teaching you at the time until you look back on it and you're like, and so many times in life, there's been, so many opportunities where, you could easily just give up, but you're like, I give it up. Like, that's not even an option, and I think that comes from wrestling and from the way Coach trained us and taught us. I know that, man, there was probably no better words ever uttered in the wrestling room is when we were at the middle of a crazy tough practice, and all of a sudden Coach would yell, "Snake in the grass," and man, everyone just cheer, and we had to, got to play this game. It was conditioning in the wrestling room, but for us it was a game, and it was something different. It was always fun. So I remember, just the joy of hearing "snake in the grass," and you're like, oh man, practice is over. Or even before big matches, Coach would have us take our wrestling shoes off and lay on our backs and turn the lights off and go through like this little mind-body meditation, which I had no clue what it was at the time, but it just was just so relaxing and just relaxing our muscles. And Coach would always tell us like, hey, when we do this, you're going to get 2 extra hours of sleep, and it's it's calming your body down. But it really did make a big difference. He really knew how to like mentally prepare us to wrestle the big matches. And like when you talk about the dynasty of Waverly Wrestling, like we could have been so cocky when we walked into schools, and when we wrestled these little teams that we knew that we're gonna beat, or we were gonna win 70 or 80% of the matches we wrestled that night. And but we never were. Like, Coach never let us be that. We were humble, and he made us that way. And the fans would get rowdy sometimes, and there'd be some shouting and things like that. But like, man, like, I think we really just were so focused, and Coach had us so focused that we just go and do our job. And it's so good to know that, like, even in life that, he taught us just how to focus and how to just go out and do your job, do the best you can. Whether you're wrestling a state champion or some kid that's his second match ever, just go out and do your job, because anything can happen any given time. I love the opportunity I had wrestling for Coach. I definitely grew as a person from, the sometimes being in the wrestling room as an 8th grader and rolling around a little bit to, to 9th grade to 10th grade, 11th grade, you just look back and just look at the way you matured and everything that we went through. And, Coach was tough too. Coach, we had team rules and Coach stuck to them. He didn't let anyone slide. He treated everyone the same. And I think we all respected Coach a lot for that. There weren't favorites. Man, those battles in the wrestling room, like, holy cow. Like, if I had to wrestle Mark Cashline one more time, oh my gosh. Like, how many times did, you just wrestle the same person over and over and over again, and you're just like, oh my gosh. But it's like you had to, here we go. Like, we're going to war. Let's go. It's on, and it's the battles within the wrestling room were crazy, but we're all great teammates, and we all just really stuck together as a team, from playing cards on the bus to our parents packing pasta for every tournament so that we weren't eating the crap, like all that stuff. Coach was way ahead of everyone in knowing about nutrition and what needed to work. We weren't allowed to wear sweats and do things like that in the wrestling room. If you want to lose weight, you just worked harder in your t-shirt and shorts, and that was Coach's motto. And I'm so thankful for Coach. I'm thankful I had the opportunity to wrestle for him. I'm thinking I had the opportunity to get to know him as a person. I'm so sorry for his loss, but I just want everyone to know that I just want everyone to know that Coach really made a huge difference in my life, and I guarantee I wouldn't be the same person if it wasn't for being a wrestler for Waverly, for Coach McCloe, and with Coach Hughes. And I know that everyone's put in our life for a reason, and Coach was definitely put in my life for a reason, and I'm so thankful that I had an opportunity to get to know him, get to meet him, and I'm sorry for his passing, but he will never be forgotten. And he was definitely a winner, and really taught us how to win, and I'm so thankful and appreciative for that. And just want all the wrestlers out there to know that I miss you guys. Hope you're all holding up good. We're all part of this, brotherhood together, and we always will be. And thank you for doing this and putting this together. And I just pray for the McCloes, and know that you're definitely in our thoughts and prayers.